So, students usually think of going to Canada, UK, Australia for higher education. Why should they also consider Kazakhstan?
Kazakhstan actually is a hidden gem in terms of international education and also in terms of the cultural vibrancy that is there in Kazakhstan.
Is Kazakhstan safe and student friendly for international students?
Kazakhstan is 100% safe. It's student friendly. You can roam around the campus on the street at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the night. You won't see a litter on the street. There is absolutely no littering on the street. The civic sense of the people is very, very good.
So, what are the common mistakes a student should avoid while filing for the student visa?
I think just make sure that the checklist of documents is complete. All your documents are in order. And most importantly, we recently had a case where a student's VIL actually had the wrong date of issue compared to the passport.
Hello, I am Mahima Baruta, Director at Kia Consultant and Study Abroad Specialist. Through Kia Consultant, we guide students and parents with university selection, admissions and complete overseas education and visa support. Welcome to Kia Consultant Study Abroad Simplified, where we break down international universities and study destinations in a clear, practical and easy to understand way so students can make informed global education decisions. In each episode, we speak directly with university representatives and international advisors to bring you reliable, first-hand information. Today, we are discussing Naroz University in Almaty, Kazakhstan, an emerging, affordable and international study destination. Joining us is Mr. Sahil Chawla, International Recruitment Advisor, who has previously represented several colleges and universities in Canada and now works closely with Naroz University. Welcome Sahil, great to have you with us. Okay, Sahil, can you please introduce yourself and your role as international student recruitment?
Hi Mahima, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on the show. For our audience and our viewers, I'd like to introduce myself. I am Sahil. I work with Naroz University as an international recruitment advisor. And my job, as your job also, is to basically help students move to abroad for study and basically provide them with good options and help them with the processes and everything.
Okay, that's great. So you have previously represented a lot of universities and colleges in Canada. How was your experience then?
Well, that's true. I have represented different institutions in Canada and I've worked in the international education space for a long period, almost close to a decade now. So I would say each institution, each country has their own benefits and not disadvantages but challenges. I think as an international student, when you move abroad, you experience certain challenges in terms of settling in the environment, adjusting, and obviously we'll delve into all of that. But yeah, the experience has been great and the international education landscape is rapidly changing, as you would also agree now. And the idea is to basically help students with affordable options, good options where they can succeed and at the same time they don't feel a lot of stress and pressure.
So how did your journey basically lead you to working with Naroz University?
I actually work with Illume Student Advisory Services, and if sort of anyone Googles it, they will come to know how big an organization Illume is. It's a global organization. They have sort of recruitment advisors in different parts of the world, ranging from South Asia to Africa, China, Vietnam, Philippines. So they sort of have a consortium of institutions under Illume. Now, initially it was mostly Canada, but now as Illume has diversified a lot, there are institutions from different parts of the world, from Germany, from Kazakhstan. And it is in this slide that I've sort of now moved on to Kazakhstan and Almaty specifically. And that's where we intend to help students and guide them, counsel them. And the university specifically is Naroz University, and it's a super cool university, and obviously we'll talk about that more.
Yeah. So students usually think of going to Canada, UK, Australia for higher education. Why should they also consider Kazakhstan?
Mahima, I think that's an excellent question. Yes, Canada, US, UK, even Australia have been traditional destinations for students to go. Students have going there for a long time, been successful also, and the benefits are there for each country. Kazakhstan actually is a hidden gem in terms of international education and also in terms of the cultural vibrancy that is there in Kazakhstan. There are two major cities in Kazakhstan, just to give everybody a perspective. One is Astana and one is Almaty. Astana is the capital where you have all the Senate and the buildings and where the parliament sits. Almaty, on the other hand, can be referred to as like Bombay kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Almaty is very culturally rich. It's extremely beautiful, clean air, clean water. Kazakhstan technically sits in Central Asia, but the vibe and the culture is completely European.
Oh, nice.
And even if you go on Google, you will see Almaty is referred to as the bridge between Europe and Central Asia.
Okay.
So Almaty and Kazakhstan in particular is attracting a lot of talent from different parts of the world in terms of exchange programs, research programs. And Kazakhstan, as people would have heard, has mostly been known for medicine. But now the government wants to attract, in fact, they have been attracting quality talent for a while in non-medical programs also. And that's the idea where I feel students are sort of missing out on a destination that is very close to home, particularly for Indian students, more welcoming, more friendly, and at the same time super accessible and affordable.
Oh, nice. So, what is changing globally that is making new destination like Kazakhstan more relevant? Do you think so?
Yes, I think what is changing exactly is the welcoming nature of countries. I think welcoming nature and the jobs. I think these are two important factors what kids are looking at these days. They want to go to a place where they feel accepted, where they feel welcome.
And plus pocket friendly, basically.
And pocket friendly, exactly. Because see, we meet so many students. At the heart of it, students don't want to have a lot of financial duress on themselves and on their parents. So they're ready to spend money. Obviously, that's not a concern. But they want to spend it wisely at a place where they can have a good ROI, like a good return on investment.
True.
So where and what is a good return on investment for an international student? We all would agree is to find a job, land a job, and basically fulfill the international education dream, so-called, that he's looking for. So I think that's really important, and that's where a place like Almaty, Kazakhstan becomes even more viable.
Nice. So how did Kazakhstan compare in cost and value with traditional destinations?
So in India, we often have this concept where we say, if a thing is not expensive, it's not worth it. But I think that's, the opposite of that sort of holds true for Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is a very well-developed country and it has very, very good infrastructure. So Almaty has been known as a very tourism-friendly hub and hospitality hub also because people go there for vacations. Even nowadays, you would see on reels how beautiful Almaty is. Yeah, it has
become a popular destination.
It has become a popular destination. As I said, you can book a ticket today and you can go to Almaty tomorrow. So in that context, the infrastructure is super, super cool, super amazing. I haven't seen dorms like this anywhere in the world, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly. It's so neat, so clean, very modernized with proper equipments. And because of that, the education in Kazakhstan is extremely affordable. Like, we're looking at something like 4,000 to 5,000 USD per year.
Okay.
And as I touched upon earlier, this is something that students are paying more than this in Indian universities.
Yes.
Where again, the idea is not to sort of bring down any university or talk ill about anyone else, but the idea is basically that the kind of exposure you would get in that sort of a tuition fee, the interaction you would get, and the kind of people you would meet, your world-class faculty and professors, that is what Almaty as a city and Kazakhstan is offering.
No, I agree that the fees is that affordable. Like, it's more like almost equivalent to the universities here. But the add-on thing which a student would get while going abroad for higher education is culturally diversified people.
Yes.
Known, like, you can meet them, you can know about their culture and things like that, and plus it has more of practical knowledge versus theoretical. That's what I've seen in other destinations. Like, when a student goes abroad, like from India to any other, it's more focused on practical knowledge. So is it the same with the universities in Kazakhstan as well?
Absolutely. In fact, recently, to be very precise, Narrows University has done a tie-up with Illinois Institute of Technology, Chicago.
Oh, nice.
Now, Illinois Institute of Technology needs no introduction. It's a pretty reputed branded school in itself. So they've done a tie-up recently for the Bachelor's in Digital Engineering program.
Okay.
Where Mahima students can do a 2+2. Students can study in Kazakhstan for 2 years and then study in US for 2 years.
Oh, nice.
And the fees is also considerably reduced. Students can also do a 3+1 if they want, and they still end up with a dual degree. And they can almost do a 4+0 also.
Okay,
the only
nice.
thing is you won't be eligible for work rights in the US, but you still get a dual degree. So these are the kind of institutions that are coming on campus, setting up labs over there, making sure that the kind of education that students receive in Kazakhstan is similar to what a student would receive when he's going to the US. So he's well settled in the environment from an academic point of view. And just to narrate a sort of funny incident that I remember, we were there at the university and we were engaging with the senior management, and someone from there mentioned a movie of Prithviraj Kapoor and Raj Kapoor.
Okay.
And that's where I felt how sort of similar, not exactly similar, but how much respect we have for each other's cultures. And when kids go there, they don't feel sort of aloof. So there is that remembrance, there is that nostalgia over there, where if people in Kazakhstan know about our movies, our Bollywood movies, then I feel it's pretty cool and amazing.
That's nice. So I have one question related to safety. Is Kazakhstan safe and student friendly for international students? So because safety is one of the major concerns of every parent, so they want to send their child to the country where it's safe. So how's your take on the safety part of that?
100%.
Okay.
Kazakhstan is 100% safe. It's student friendly. You can roam around the campus on the street at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the night. You won't see a litter on the street. There is absolutely no littering on the street. The civic sense of the people is very, very good. And it's very safe.
Okay.
The infrastructure in Kazakhstan has been, and many people, politicians, etc., have referred to that belt having a very good infrastructure. Even some politicians recently in the south of the country had also mentioned about how good the infrastructure is there. And I would sort of ask viewers or audience to just, while scrolling your normal Instagram reels, just scroll Narhoz University and you will see the kind of facilities that they're providing right now. And to answer that question specifically in terms of safety, I can provide you an example as well. There are a lot of families from sort of UK, US that are settled over there.
Okay.
Just like the culture is in Dubai where expats are settled, living with their kids. The same culture is there in Almaty also. So it's very student friendly, it's safe, it's affordable, and that's why a lot of people from different parts of the world have made Almaty their home, making it very culturally diverse.
Okay. So can you please give us a simple overview of Narhoz University?
Absolutely. So Narhoz, you can pronounce it as Narhoz or Narhoz, basically X is kind of silent in there. Narhoz was established in 1963 and it's been in existence for a fairly long time, more than 60 years. So a lot of times students ask how old is the university. So to be very precise, the university is more than 60 years old. It offers a range of programs, Mahima, from engineering at the bachelor's level, programs in tourism and hospitality, which are very much in demand. And over the years, I've met so many students who are wanting to do a program in tourism and hospitality, but they don't easily get that option. There are programs in business economics at the master's level, programs in finance. There's an MBA too.
Okay.
There's an MBA too, which obviously a lot of students from South Asia do want to do an MBA. And apart from that, there are programs across law, there are programs across sociology, arts and social sciences, programs across School of Planning and Management. So I won't go into details into each program, but there's a lot of diversity on the plate in that context. In terms of accessibility to world-class professors, everything in the university is taught in English. The local language in Almaty is Kazakh. It is not mandatory for you to know it. Over time, if you sort of develop an understanding of it, it can be basically very beneficial. Apart from that, Narhoz also offers dual degree programs which are just touched upon, like Illinois Institute of Technology. Similarly, they've got tie-ups in UK also with Queen's University Belfast, where you can do a similar 2+2 program.
Okay.
There are tie-ups with Germany also, Hof University, where you can do a 2 years in Kazakhstan and 2 years in Germany. Similarly for masters also, where you can do a 1+1, 1 year in Kazakhstan, 1 year in Germany. And let's say your fee for that program in Germany ideally would be around 5,500 euros. That comes down to about 3,300 euros if you go from Kazakhstan. So students ask me all the time, sir, scholarship. I say when your tuition fee is cut in half, you don't exactly need a scholarship.
True.
The only thing is that students don't know is the awareness that Kazakhstan is a very good destination apart from medicine. And if you do a little bit research on the internet, on your Instagram pages, on your YouTube, you will come to know more about Narose as an institution. But yeah, super affordable, super diverse, and a range of programs for students to choose from, and interaction with kids from different parts of the world. That's where global exposure comes in.
Yeah, and that's the strength also of that university, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So what makes it stand out in the region compared to other institutions? Like, I'm particularly talking about Narose University and the other universities in Kazakhstan. So if I say so, how the Narose University is being stand out versus any other institutions there?
That's another good question, Mahima, to ask. There are very good universities in Almaty and in Kazakhstan also, but each has their unique benefits, to be very precise. Some universities are more engaged in research.
Okay.
Some have a speciality with regard to medicine, as we mentioned. Narose stands out for one particular reason, I would say, is the fact that it ranks amongst top 200 in the world for employment outcomes globally.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And this is not according to any sort of ABC ranking or anything like that. This is according to the QS rankings.
Oh.
So Narose has focused very much on industrial tie-ups, on sort of connections with companies. I mean, connection sounds like a bad word, but
networking.
Thank you for that. Networking with companies to basically to allow their students to have that infrastructure and ecosystem to engage with companies. So let's say when a student is sort of about to complete their bachelor's, he's completed 3 years of education, those companies are going to come on campus.
Okay.
He can apply to those companies initially for internship in his final year and then for employment, obviously, as he goes along. So 95 to 97% of the students, Mahima, from Narose are placed.
That's very nice, and that's a huge number you're talking about.
Exactly. So a student is sort of prepared prior to him finishing his bachelor's or finishing his master's to be industry ready.
So that is actually what students want.
Exactly.
They have studied from a good university and should be placed properly.
Exactly.
So if the networking is helping in that, that's an add-on advantage also.
Absolutely, because see, the goal of a student who's wanting to go abroad, receiving international education, is obviously to have that sort of high level of academia. But along with that, he wants a job.
Absolutely.
Let's be realistic about
yes,
it. He wants a job.
Yes.
He wants a good job. So in that context, the university prepares a student well to be industry ready, to interact with companies, to sort of give interviews, and that's where students find a job by the time they complete their bachelor's or master's. And Mahima, there's another good point. A student who's going for graduate study, who's going to do master's, can teach after 1 year.
Okay.
He can teach after 1 year, which is not easily available in all countries because there's a lot of process that goes on to teach.
Yes.
Students at Narose University or doing education in Kazakhstan can teach after 1 year at the master's level. So when 97% of the students are finding employment at that sort of return on investment where your tuition fee is extremely sort of in the budgeted range, and that also students don't have to pay together. They can pay semester wise.
Okay.
So if your tuition fee is say 4.5 lakh per year, then you can pay it semester wise for 2.25 lakh per year. And depending, there are some programs that are even sort of less expensive, like tourism and hospitality, where the fee even reduces further. So these are all benefits, but yes, in terms of landing a job and working after completing your course, that's where I would say is a big USP for Narose.
That's very nice. Like, to know such a strength of a university is great. So I want to get down to more academically driven questions now. Okay. So which programs are most popular among international students in the university?
School of planning and management, which is programs like HR and business planning, marketing, finance, economics. These are obviously two courses that are really attracting student interest. The BBA programs, as we like to call them. Then you've got programs across digital technologies. There's a school of digital technologies in Narrows. And traditionally you hear about programs like computer engineering, computer science. Here you've got programs like digital engineering and cybersecurity.
Oh, nice.
So it's the path is same, but it's specific in that sense. So students wanting to study AI, students wanting to study cybersecurity, which is like really right on the list of students. These are the two programs that are really attracting interest from students. At the same time, law is another program that's attracting a lot of interest, because law, again, it's not easy to do law from the traditional developed country. Let's be honest about that. And there are programs like international relations, a bachelor's in international relations, a master's in international relations, that open up doors for you, like UNICEF, UNESCO. I mean, there are two paths students can take to that. One is the School of Arts and Social Science, and one is the School of Law and Public Policy. So these are programs that are attracting a lot of interest, apart from programs like MBA and one more, tourism and hospitality.
Oh, nice.
Because again, Narrows and Almaty as a city has a setup and an ecosystem that allows students to work with the hotel chains and hospitality chains like Ritz-Carlton, which is there. So bachelor's in tourism and master's in tourism, or restaurant and hotel business, which is a particular program, again, doing well.
Nice. So are the programs taught in English?
All the programs are taught in English. Students can take up the local language like Kazakh as an additional language if they want, but the programs are all taught in English, and you can choose all your subjects like you would normally choose a major or a minor as you go along.
Okay. Which academic areas is the university especially strong in?
I would say all the ones that I mentioned, because they all relate to the industry ecosystem that they have. But to be very precise on that answer, I would say School of Planning and Management, which is business category, School of Business. Then there is School of Digital Technologies. And I would say the master's programs in the same category as well.
Okay, so you have mentioned about degree programs, dual degree programs or pathway programs. So which countries do Narrows University has a tie-up with? Like you have spoken about US, you have spoken about Hof University in Germany,
yes.
You have spoken about Queen's Belfast in UK. Any other country they have a pathway program too? For example, I just wanted to give you an example from a student point of view. So, there are circumstances at home and they are not able to perform great in their class 12. So probably 50, 55% or 60%. I don't know what percentage do Narrows take. So if the percentage is high, and these kind of universities want like 85 to 90%. So if their target is to study eventually at Hof University in Germany, so will the university like Narrows will be able to help them out?
There are two facets to this. One, there are many universities which run dual degree programs in Narrows. I've mentioned about US, Illinois Tech, we mentioned about Queen's in UK, we mentioned about Hof University in Germany. Similarly, there are schools in France like La Rochelle School of Hospitality. Then there's Penn State, which also has a dual degree program. So there are similar other universities, top class universities, which have a dual degree program. How does a student move into a dual degree program? Let's address this question.
Yes, I want to know that more about it.
That's again a very valid question. A student can choose to do a normal program. Let's say a student applies to a BBA program at Narrows University, enters into the university, is selected as studying. Now to actually move to Queen's University UK, he will have to fulfill certain requirements.
Okay.
What are those requirements? Queen's University requires an IELTS of 6.5. The student will need an IELTS of 6.5. Queen's University requires the student to have a GPA of 3.0 out of 4.0. The student will have to sort of fulfill that requirement. After 2 years, if the student is fulfilling that requirement, the student can move to Queen's University. If the student wants to continue staying at the university in Narrows only, he can continue for another 2 years and complete his course there also. So in order to move to a partner university, you fulfill the requirements of the partner university. Whether it's IELTS, whether it's your GPA, which are the two primary aspects that the university looks at, because Narrows does not initially require a student to have IELTS. So students initially get admission without IELTS. If they want to move to a partner university, that's completely up to them. They can do that by fulfilling the requirements of the partner university.
So it is up to the student whether if he's able to fulfill that particular thing, the transition is smooth.
Yes.
If not, then they have to study at Narose University.
Yes. The only exception in this is the Illinois Tech program, because that is exclusively a pathway program for digital engineering.
Okay.
So if the average fee for a program at Narose is $4,000 to $5,000, for a particular dual degree program like Illinois Tech, that fees is $12,000.
Oh, that's higher.
That's higher. That's only for Illinois Tech, because you are going particularly into a specific dual degree program where you are in the Illinois Tech Narose curriculum basically.
And it is a guaranteed transfer.
It is a guaranteed transfer provided you fulfill the conditions of your...
Again, the condition has to be fulfilled.
The condition has to be fulfilled. Before you move to US, UK, Germany, the partner university requirements in terms of IELTS and GPA have to be fulfilled.
Oh, okay, nice. Student and parents are very budget friendly these days, right? So how affordable is Narose University as compared to Canada and UK? Though you have spoken about that the fees is approximately 4,000, 5,000 euros as compared to UK and Canada. So is there any other, I wanted to know the highest fee structure at Narose, because we have to see from the budget point of view as well for a student.
Let's put that in perspective very clearly. The average fee for a program at Narose University is $4,000 to $5,000 US.
Okay.
On the higher side, the fee goes up to $5,000 to $5,200. So let's take 5,000 USD as a benchmark. It's not euros. USD is the benchmark.
Okay.
$5,000 US in today's time translates to basically a fee. If we take a rough average between 90 to 100 on the dollar, it moves to around 4.5 lakh to 5 lakh per year. That's the maximum fee you would pay at a program at Narose.
Okay.
And again, you pay it semester wise, so you pay half of that and then you pay your each semester fee. For programs like tourism and hospitality, certain programs, this fee can go down up to $3,800 US to $3,700
that is very
US
cheap, huh?
also. So there is no comparison in terms of affordability. It is like, I would say, at the zenith in terms of affordability. It is up to the students to take advantage of this destination now and take home the benefits, as they would say. Because if you can receive that education at that price and get a job with the industry networking that the university has, then there's nothing like it.
Okay. So my next question would be, so what is the life of a student at Almaty? I want to know from that perspective as well.
It is as happening a life as one can get.
Okay.
There are, there are snow tours, there are mountain tours. I visited this place called Shimbulak in Almaty. And so Almaty uses a lot of kind of trolley travel to move from high altitude regions, between high altitude regions. So that's one sort of mode of communication, or a mode of transport where you get to see the entire city from a high top level. And at the same time, I'll tell you how well they preserve their spaces. So while we were going there by car, diesel and petrol cars are not allowed over there.
Okay.
Why? Because the fumes from those cars would eventually land up on the snow and the snow would turn black.
Oh, okay.
So that's how conscious they are about protecting their landscapes, protecting their areas, having a good civic sense. And only electric cars are allowed over there. So there are snow tours that you can do. There's so much history and culture attached to Almaty. We visited the sort of churches over there, religious areas, monuments, snow resorts. So it's a fun place to be, a lot of things for students to do. And as I said, Almaty being a tourism and hospitality hub attracts a lot of people on vacations, visitors, etc. And at the same time, this also allows students to have the opportunity on the part-time job front also, where during vacations they can work as part-time tourist guides, make some good money. If they want to use that money for tuition, they can use it. If they want to come back home, be with their family at Diwali. So all this benefit is there. The idea that an international student has to give up all these things like being away from home all the time, being away from parents, that notion is changing.
Does the university provide dormitory or hostel accommodation?
Yes, there are two options. A student can choose a room where he can, like, 2 individuals can share it, and there's also a room where 3 individuals can share it. So this is the modern, recently constructed new housing, which we call as Eman housing. The cost of that room is $480, Mahima, to be precise.
Per month.
Per month. If 2 people split it, it's $240. If 3 people split it, it's $160. So the size of the 3-bed room is kind of bigger than the 2-bed room, obviously.
Okay.
But as I said at the beginning of this podcast, I haven't seen accommodation like this.
So what are the approximately monthly living expenses for an international student?
So we'll draw this answer from the previous question that we answered. If a student is paying $240 per month in terms of rent, and if one is paying $160, so let's take an average of $200 as accommodation. Your total living expense would come to $500, including your accommodation and your groceries, basically. In Eman housing, the housing that we're talking about, there is a sort of utility store on the ground floor, where students can buy sort of tissue paper, beverages, Maggie, your ready-to-eat sandwiches, and that's open till 11 o'clock in the night, and that's run by students. So you don't always have to go outside. And Indian students, to answer specific questions like, do you get Indian food over there? Yes, you do get Indian food. There are a lot of Indian restaurants, and there's also a kind of similar app to Swiggy and Zomato that you can use to order food. So again, $500 I think is the higher end estimate expense, including everything.
Okay. So what kind of internship, or industry exposure do students receive there?
PwC, KPMG, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, Hyundai, Samsung, Microsoft, Chevron, Google, Nestle, all these firms are there. And these are firms that, like, I've just read at the tip of my hand. Almaty itself has a lot of firms that are doing very well globally. For example, Kaspi is a bank in Almaty, Mahima. So like we have Paytm, where you can sort of, and we're not advertising anything here. But Kaspi is a full ecosystem in itself, where you can use it to do payments, you can use it to pay your rent, you can use it to buy groceries. So it's a very, very big banking ecosystem, more than a banking ecosystem. There are several such ecosystems and industries and companies over there that come to Narose University and hires good quality talent.
And like you told earlier as well, that before the completion of the course, there is a campus placement where 97% of the students are being placed. So it is like I would say, value of money you are getting. 93%
actually receive early employment. So before they're even finishing their degree, they already have a job in hand. And obviously 95 to 97% students get placed. So students who want to do programs like accounting, on the commerce side of things, where many times accounting programs are not available everywhere, you have this sort of industry ecosystem or company ecosystem where the big 4 firms are there. So if you do a BBA in accounting, then you do have the option of working with those companies at the end of the day. And that's where I think, as we discussed earlier, it's a huge benefit.
So basically, I would just, for a better knowledge of our audience, I would want to reframe this question one more time again in a different way. So what career outcomes can graduate expect from Narose University?
So I will touch upon this in both ways, on the bachelor front also and the master's front
yes,
also.
Please.
For a bachelor student, it's pretty plain and simple. If you've completed your 3 years of education, your final year is pretty much going to be focused on landing an early employment, getting a job, working your way towards internships. Obviously, you have time during your study also, because your semester runs from September to December, January to April. So you do have a 4-month break where you can work part-time, do an internship and hone your skills also. So on that front, students have multiple opportunities, multiple avenues to interact with companies that come on campus, both for internships and jobs, and land get yourself placed from there. Master students, they have the option of going into further research, because PhD is available at Narose University.
Okay.
So there are about 6 to 7 programs where you can do a PhD in business, in economics, and I think law too as well. And you have the option of teaching also after 1 year, so you can become a teaching assistant or a research assistant. And being a graduate obviously allows you the opportunity to work with companies also. So if your previous year of study, or you are already coming with a work ex, which many times is the case for a graduate student, they've already worked with certain companies, you can use that experience to move into what you've been doing after your graduation as well, your undergraduation. Or if you've chosen a program that's slightly different to your bachelor program, then you can sort of interact with companies on that line also. So all those options are available to students, and Narrows is providing that atmosphere, that ambient atmosphere, both in terms of culture and education, for students to thrive.
Nice. So we have spoken about academics, we have spoken about the university, we have spoken about the lifestyle there, right?
Yes.
Now the main question is about the visa process. So I will be asking you questions related to those now. Okay. What is the student visa process for Kazakhstan, like overall? What is their success rate? How it is being done? Things like that.
First of all, it's a very, very simple process.
Okay.
That's the good part. The bad part is it's not online. So students have to come in person to the embassy in Delhi, submit their documents, and within a 4 to 5 day period, they get their visa.
Okay.
So that's the good part, and that's the tough part. In terms of visa accessibility and all the hassle around visa, let's be honest about this. There are a lot of visa hassles.
Yes, absolutely.
In terms of documentation, in terms of showing additional funds, in terms of having bank statements, the funds being owed to a certain degree. We have nothing like this in Kazakhstan. Once a student is selected, he has the offer letter, he pays the fee, and he waits. After paying the fee, he waits for something called the VIL, which is the visa invitation letter.
Okay.
The visa invitation letter comes from the embassy to the university, and from the university to the student. This is the prime document that you actually use for visa.
Okay.
Alongside, you sort of fill up the form, your passport size photos, your VIL, and accommodation proof is something that's
mandatory.
It's not mandatory, but it's handy.
Okay.
It's better for students to show accommodation proof, because since not a lot of funds are required to be displayed or shown, accommodation is something that sort of proves that you're here for the right reasons. You're going to be sort of living over there, and you have that all set up. So accommodation proof is something that you can add. Police verification certificate is also something that if you have it, that's good. But the primary thing is the VIL. Okay. So these are the basic documents you need. You take these documents to the embassy in Delhi, you submit them, you pay the fee. There are two fees that you can pay. One is the single entry, which is 80 USD, 80, and the multiple entry is 200 USD. That's pretty much your visa fee. So obviously it's better to do the multiple entry because you can come and go in that regard. So you pay the 200 USD fee, and then you pretty much wait for your visa.
Okay. So I think when it comes to key documents, only VIL is important, right?
The VIL is the most important document because, as we said, it comes from the embassy to the university and the university to the student. After that, the rest of the documents are pretty normal or standardized, as I would say, for any visa process.
Okay. And the normal visa processing time is 4 to 5 working days or 4 to 5 days?
4 to 5 working days.
Okay.
It can come earlier also, but it's 4 to 5 working days, I would say, is the standard time.
And does a visa officer takes an interview with the student?
No, there is no interview. You just submit your documents at the embassy, pay your fee, and then wait for your visa.
Okay, and what is the visa success rate?
Right now, 100%. I haven't seen any denials
so far
up till this point. And as I said, the VIL is a very important document because it comes from the embassy. So there's a lot of background check kind of that goes into it, which program the student is coming from, which university is he coming for. So once you have that and rest of the documents are in order, and you haven't messed up any document, it's pretty good.
Okay. So is there any financial proof required or nothing?
No financial proof required. If you have a standardized account where you have certain money to the tune of 1.5 to 2 lakhs or even 2.5 lakh, which is roughly one semester's fee in Kazakhstan, then you can add that document as an additional document. But more than that, accommodation proof would suffice. So not a humongous amount of funds to be shown, or a student would have to take a loan.
Okay.
Just standardized process in terms of of whatever you have in your account can be added as additional information. Just we talked about the police verification and the accommodation proof also on those lines also. Nothing special or extra or different.
Okay, so what are the common mistakes a student should avoid while filing for the student visa?
I think just make sure that the checklist of documents is complete. All your documents are in order. And most importantly, we recently had a case where a student's VIL actually had the wrong date of issue compared to the passport. So let's say the date of issue on the passport was 1st December or 1st of January. But it was mentioned like 31st December or one day prior to that on the VIL. Then the VIL had to go back to the embassy. It was sort of the entire process had to happen again. A new VIL came and the student used that for the visa. So make sure that when you receive the VIL, the date of issue on the VIL matches
The document should be rechecked by the student.
They should be rechecked by the student, particularly the VIL, because that's the only place he can go wrong. Apart from that, as I said, it's a very simple process, nothing extra or different required. And once you have the documents in order, it's pretty
everything is smooth. Okay, so are international students allowed to work part-time over there?
Good question again. I think this is a very relevant question that students ask. So technically what we recommend students is once they've spent a semester of studying in Kazakhstan or Almaty, once they're used to the culture, then they can explore that option. Students do work part-time, particularly when the semester is not running, on vacations, etc., as they work in the hospitality sector. They also work part-time on campus. They can work as much as they want. There's no restriction on campus. Off campus, technically they're not allowed to work. Off campus, they're not technically allowed to work. Having said that, a lot of students do work part-time. The medical students that I interacted with over there, they were all working part-time. As long as you're good in terms of what you're doing for academic studies and you're within your sort of zone, your rights, then you can work over there. On campus, as I said, as much as you want. Off campus, once you're settled, you know the atmosphere, then you can start working. But to add to this, Mahima, this year we're expecting, because Kazakhstan wants to attract a lot of good quality talent, both the post-study work visa and the part-time is going to see a considerable change. On paper also.
So what kind of part-time jobs usually international student gets?
Hospitality is one sector that attracts a lot of part-time jobs and full-time jobs actually, because hospitality is a very, very big sector. As I mentioned, there are firms like Ritz-Carlton, big hotels, Rix's Borovoi, which is there. Students also work on campus apart from teaching assistant, there are different roles on campus. For example, while we were there on campus, there was a student who was sort of taking care of us for all the 4 days with regard to showing us around, etc., introducing us to the faculty, spaces in and around the campus. So he was getting paid for that. So there are different kinds of roles that students can do. The one big benefit is because your fee is less, because it's an affordable destination in terms of tuition fee, immediately you will not feel the need to start working. So once you give yourself a couple of months, 2, 3, 4 months, and you're settled, then you will find your way out and you can work and use that additional money to do whatever you want. Whether you want to pay tuition fee with that, or you want to come back home or spend, go on a vacation, that's completely up to you.
Are there any post-study work opportunities after graduation?
No. Right now, the post-study work opportunities are pretty much similar to Dubai. You don't have a post-study work permit. That's where the employment for Naros becomes important, because they ensure that all their students get placed.
Like a sponsorship letter,
letter, they will get it, because once you're employed with the companies will renew your work visa every year. So that gets renewed every year. In the university, your study permit is renewed by the university every year after 1 year. So that's how this works. Again, expecting a lot of change on the post-study work permit also. It could be 2 years, it could be 3 years. But currently, there's no post-study work permit. So employment becomes important, just like in Dubai. I would say that's pretty much the case in Dubai also. Once you have the sponsorship, you can start working. But this is going to become more flexible within this year, I'm expecting.
So in short, if I would say that post-study work visa is not there for the students. However, they can still get it if they have a job. They have the sponsorship letter, and then they might get the resident permit or something sort of that.
In the long run, they can definitely work towards residency, but the big factor in there is Narose ensures that the student gets placed from campus.
Okay.
So once you're placed, and that this happens well before your 4th year is getting completed or your 2nd year is getting completed.
Okay.
So by the time you're in your second last semester, you would probably be having a job, because early employment is one of the key facets of Narose University. So then once you're employed, the company renews your work.
Okay, thanks Sahil. That has been really insightful. So let's have a quick rapid fire round.
Absolutely.
Just one word. You don't have to think anything.
This is going to be tough, but I'm going to try and do my best.
Okay. One word for Narose University.
Super cool.
Super cool. Okay, nice. Strongest study field there.
School of Business.
Okay. Biggest student advantage.
Accessibility and safety.
Okay. Almaty in one line.
Heavenly beautiful.
Okay. Ideal student for this university.
I would say a student who's open in terms of culture and mindset would be the ideal student.
Okay.
Who doesn't have preconceived notions, to
Okay.
be very specific.
Thank you, Sahil.
Thank you, Mahima. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sahil, for sharing such clear and practical insight about Narose University and studying in Kazakhstan. From academics and course to career, visa process and long-term opportunities. For personalized university selection, admission guidance and complete visa support, you can connect with Kia Consultant. I am Mahima Baruta and this has been Kia Consultant Study Abroad Simplified, where global education is explained simply and clearly. We will be back with another university and another destination made simple.